your name? Don't you play this game? You from another land, got you like it's contraband. Tell me what's your name? Don't you play this game? You from another land, got you like it's contraband.
What's up, guys? Keishan Uchiha here, back at you with another new goddamn alternate universe video. Now, this is, pretty much an idea that I was talking on the live broadcast. If y'all was there, this would pretty much be the first part of a What If. This would be part one of What If Naruto had the Infinity Gauntlets. Now, how would this happen? What's going to go on? Would it be some crazy shit? And how would Naruto have the goddamn Infinity Gauntlets? Or the Infinity Stones, you could say. My bad. But let's start. And I'll explain everything. Now, we start off with pretty much Thanos. And pretty much Thanos is, being a tyrant, doing his things, fucking killing shit. And also, ruling. This is where Thanos had a deviant plan, a crazy idea. Something that will double his effort to get Death attention. He goes into the Naruto universe, warping reality, or pretty much ripping a tear to reality and crossing over. Now, this is where the Avengers is a little bit concerned of what he's doing, and Tony Stark is trying to figure out where did Thanos go, including the whole rest of the universe. This is where Thanos ends up in the Naruto universe, and this is where he sees the Nine Tails attack. Now, this is where the Nine Tails attack happening, and pretty much the shit is just going out of hand and stuff. Now, as this is going out of hand, the Hokage is fighting Obito, which we all know the masked man, and Thanos is pretty much looking around, smiling and saying, look like this place is already about to go into ruins anyways. And this is where he says it. Now, as that's happening, this is where the Nine Tails pretty much sees Thanos and fires a Tail Beast Bomb. This is where Thanos grins and smacks it away. Well, pretty much smacks the Tail Beast Bomb away and says, "How dare you shoot this power at me? You're not worth the celly." Which pretty much this is what Thanos says, and he pretty much teleports in front of the Tail Beast and smacks the shit out of it to the ground. The Tail Beast pretty much gets smacked to the ground, which everybody is shocked that Thanos sees smack the shit out of this person, smack the shit out of the Tail Beast, smacking it to the ground. This is where Thanos begins to grin after what he just did and says, "I'm going to have fun doing something to you," which Thanos says, "After I'm done with you, you're going to be begging for death." Which this is where Thanos started absolutely torturing the hell out of this Tail Beast. First, he uses the Time Stone First, he obliterates the Tail Beast, uses the Time Stone, bring it back to Tail Beast. He's just doing absolutely the worst. He's using all the Time Stone abilities, just absolutely making the Tail Beast day worse. Just terrified. Absolutely. The Tail Beast is more like, even if the Tail Beast is under a Genjutsu, it's terrified and it's trying to run away from Thanos. Thanos is not having it. He's having fun too much to torture the Tail Beast. As he's doing that, this is where everybody is just in shock, but also in fear because they see this one person pretty much absolutely beating the shit out of this Tail Beast and making it absolutely worse. Just like he's doing absolutely the worst to this Tail Beast. This is where Minato comes in after seeing the Tail Beast is absolutely getting tortured. This is where the Tail Beast is to the ground, like hovering in fear, just like in fear, shaking. This is where Thanos pretty much hops on top of the beast and pretty much is standing on it saying, "I, Thanos, have defeated this weak beast." Which we all know the Nine Tails is strong, but not stronger than Thanos. This is where Minato looks and says, "Who are you?" Which pretty much this is where Thanos looks at him and says, "How dare you speak to me that way?" And pretty much have Minato bow to him. Which Minato is bowing without his will. And everybody else is in fear. This is where Thanos looks in Minato memory, kind of seeing through Minato memories and stuff. It says, look like you have a son and daughter. Look like you have a daughter. Not a daughter, a son. Which he pretty much grins and look at Kushina, while Kushina is pretty much losing a lot of chakra and dying slowly. And she's pretty much holding Naruto. She's barely keeping her eyes up. as she's holding tight to Naruto while Thanos walking closely to them. This is where Minato thinks to have the smart idea of throwing a kunai to trying to hit him with a Rasengan. As he does that to throw a Rasengan, it hits Thanos in the back a little bit. But this is where Thanos turns around and looks at Minato and says, "Huh, you dare to hurt me?" Which this is where Minato realized he made a little bit of a mistake. As Minato's trying to teleport away, this is where Thanos grabs Minato by the leg and slams him back and forth to the ground over and over again. And every ninja's trying to help Minato, but Thanos is pretty much using Minato as a weapon and smacking all ninjas everywhere and shit. Absolutely just destroying the field. This is where Thanos pretty much thinks of the funniness. And he pretty much grabs Minato and breaks his goddamn back. Breaking Minato's back. Which Minato is screaming in agonizing pain. Minato repairs Minato back in his prime and breaks his back over and over again. Pretty much, this is where Minato is fucking obliterated. And this is where Minato heals him one more time and just throws him to the ground saying, "Do not interfere when I'm doing something." Which Minato can't do anything. He's too hurt. Though Thanos repaired Minato, he left physical scars. Like mentally scars. Which Minato is too frightened to try to attack Thanos again. This is where Thanos walks up to Kushina, and Kushina is like, she's trying her best to hold on to Naruto. But this is where Thanos thinks of the most craziest shit ever. He picks up Naruto, which Kushina can't get Naruto, and she's pretty much lying on the ground, slowly dying. This is where Thanos pretty much heals Kushina, bringing her all the way back, and pretty much, and as he's rewriting time on her, the Nine Tails is getting affected by it and gets absorbed all the way back Kushina. So Kushina gets the full Nine Tails back in her, which she's looking at her body and realizes that she's completely fine. This is where Thanos pretty much looks at her and says, "You do not thank me, or you think I did this out of my kindness. I did this to prolong your suffering." Which pretty much Thanos just smacks her away. This is where Thanos holding the baby in. He sees something in Naruto. He sees greatness. And he pretty much says, "Although you may not be my child, I shall bestow you something beautiful. Something much greater that you should not deserve." And he pretty much he creates the Infinity Stones, but he duplicates them. How? I don't know. Pretty crazy. But he reduplicates them. He duplicates the Infinity Stones. This is where he does the unthinkable. And he begins to fuse the Infinity Stones into Naruto's back, scarring Naruto. Now, how is he doing this? You should know. You should already know Thanos. But pretty much he's putting each Infinity Stones in unique order. And Naruto's just crying. And Thanos keeping Naruto's alive. Keep in mind. Now, this is where Naruto is infused with all the Infinity Stones. And you think Naruto would die because, the Infinity Stones, if they're all merged together, if we're gonna do the Marvel movie, it should kill you with radiation. But we're gonna do the comic book version. So yeah, Naruto pretty much is gonna survive this. But pretty much Naruto is imposed with all the Infinity Stone powers. This is where Thanos goes back to Kushina and gives Naruto back to her. Which this is where Thanos says, "Have fun taking care of your son." Which he smiles and grins. Which Minato asks, what did he do to his son? Which Thanos says, "None of your business. You have no right to know." And pretty much he gets the fuck out of there, disappearing. And everybody's saying, who was that guy? Even Minato. But he's gone anyways. Now we start with a time skip a little bit. We have a 5-year-old Naruto with the Infinity Stones stuck in his back, or you could say fused with him. This 5-year-old Naruto is pretty much is kind of looked weird upon, because although the Nine Tails attack was bad, Minato is still alive, and no one doesn't blame Naruto, and Naruto doesn't have the Nine Tails in him. So more people is looking at Kushina more than Naruto. But Nevertheless, Naruto is just as weird. Well, just as a freak than Kushina, because rumors have came out that Naruto has these weird stones at his back that has great power, more powerful than the Sage of Sixth Path, which Danzo is pretty much saying. Which everybody looks at Naruto much weirder than Kushina, you could say. Now, this is where Naruto's pretty much in his room, well, pretty much outside trying at the academy by himself at the swing, because pretty much everybody doesn't want to play with Naruto because he's too weird. Until one person comes to him. And we're going to say this is pretty much Sakura. Now, why is Sakura coming to him? Actually, no, not Sakura, Hinata. Which Hinata comes to him and says, "Why are you here by yourself?" Which pretty much this is where Naruto looks at her and says, "Oh, you don't want to be by me. I'm weird." Which Hinata pretty much smiles and says, "You don't look weird at all." Which this is a different Hinata. A more angelic, not shy, and more, outgoing. Which Naruto pretty much look at her and pretty much says, "Are you here to make fun of me?" Or which she says, "Oh no, I'm just here to want to know you." Which this is where Hinata and Naruto kind of create a bond a little bit early. Now this is where Naruto doesn't have a bad childhood because he has Hinata and Shikamaru and Troji as friends too, and pretty much as friends. So that's a little bit of detail of his little bit of 5-year-old self. But let's get to the anime. Now, this is where. Oh wait, sorry about that, guys. Yeah, hold on. Let me just fix this. All right, there we go. Okay, so yeah, so I had to find the specific powers for the stones, so I don't just say it wrong. So I just don't say it all wrong. Okay. So pretty much, yeah. Soul Stone. These are pretty much all the stones that y'all see before y'all. So yeah. But yeah, let's pretty much continue. Um Pretty much this is where oh wait. Crap. Yeah, so this is where pretty much Naruto would have all these stones, and we already know what the stones can do, but I'm just gonna say them. Well, not say them, but basically show you. But pretty much, this is where we start off with Naruto. Naruto pretty much not confusing the wall, but pretty much in the ninja library, and pretty much just studying. And Naruto is pretty much studying not to pretty much. Well, no, he pretty much studies because he wants to be a strong ninja, but also an intelligent ninja. Pretty much, this is where Naruto is studying in the library, and no one doesn't go there because Naruto's there. So pretty much, Naruto has the whole library to himself until Hinata comes in and pretty much talks to him and stuff and reads with him. But this is where we're starting off. Pretty much, Naruto is reading books and stuff, and he's trying to find a book to know about his condition and why does he have these affinity stones or these infinity stones on his back, which Minato and Kushina kept it secret and haven't told Naruto how he got these affinity stones. Pretty much they just said he was born like that, or they made up some lie or some shit, which Naruto doesn't believe him now, and he most likely doesn't trust his mom and dad, and trying to figure out what is he and and why does he have these in his back. But pretty much this is where Naruto is reading books and stuff. But this is where he reads a book about the Sage's path, and he reads about it and what unique about him and stuff. But this is where he finds a scroll in the library that he haven't seen before, and he pretty much opens it, and it tells about the Infinity Stones and what it can do, and he reads more about it. This is where he reads about what each Infinity Stones do, and I'm pretty much gonna read them too. The soul gem, pretty much powered by reality. It can pretty much allow the user to come back to life, or bring other people back to life and stuff. reality stone. Pretty much, you know what it means to rewrite reality and do all that stuff. And pretty much he can cross other realities and stuff, or just rewrite or remake his, or just rewrite his reality. Mind Stone pretty much it allows him to control other people and what they actions they can do, or pretty much just have complete control over them and stuff, or read people minds and stuff. We're just gonna say that. Power Stone gives him more power, grants him more power, and also power up the other stones too to make them much stronger. Yeah, and also increases physical strength and body and stuff. Time Stone, we all know what that can do: rewind time, stop time. Also can go back in time, can do all that stuff. And the space tone, or the space, um, you could say stone. Oh my god, hold on, let me fix this. Sorry about that, guys, but let's continue. Pretty much, yeah, Time Stone allows him to teleport to different locations. Also out of space too. So yeah, but pretty much let's continue. This is where, crap. Sorry guys, had to find a good charging place. My bad. But let's continue. Pretty much, Time Space Stone, like I said, allows you to teleport everywhere where you want to be at, and most likely stuff like that. But yeah, let's continue. Pretty much this is where Naruto reads all what he can do, and he pretty much go to a bathroom place, which the library has a bathroom, and he looks at his back and sees he has all of them. This is where he uses the time stone to go back in time to see how did he get this power and stuff, because he's curious about it. Now this is where Naruto goes back in time, and he's pretty much hiding at the disaster of Nine Tails' attack to see what happened and stuff, and see what's pretty much going on. As he goes back and look, he pretty much sees this guy, and he's purple and stuff, and he pretty much sees the same infinity stones on him, um, or at his wrist, or at a gauntlet, and pretty much saying that's what I have, which he's pretty much curious of what the hell is that. This is where Thanos is flying away and stuff, but this is where he noticed Naruto's height. The future Naruto is hiding at a corner and pretty much sees him and smiles and says, "Huh, so you came back in time to see how you got these powers. How cute." Which pretty much Minato and Kushina doesn't know what Thanos talking about, and they don't see what he's talking about because they don't know what the hell is he talking about, and who's came back to see how he got how he got these powers. But Naruto's pretty much hiding, and which Thanos knows. Thanos just knows, you could say. Thanos knows. But this is where, as that happening, Thanos smiles, and he pretty much says, well, it doesn't matter. You can never change the process of this power you have. And you will continue to have this power where I choose it. And he begins to do the same process over and over again. And pretty much does the Infinity Stones and put it in Naruto's back again. Which Naruto feels the pain a little bit because Thanos can make it happen. And Naruto begins to fall down again. This is where Thanos tells him to go back to his present time. Which Naruto goes back to his present time and pretty much knows how he got his Infinity Stones, and he's pissed. Got this power and he's pissed. This is where Naruto goes back home, which Minato is saying, "Welcome home, Naruto," and also Kushina, which Naruto tells him to get away from me, and asks them why they haven't told him the truth about how he got the stones, which pretty much they're saying what he's talking about, which Naruto gets even more mad and says that he knows the truth and how he got the stones in his back and who gave it to him, and basically saying that it was this purple guy with these red eyes, and pretty much they know what he's talking about, and they know he's talking about that guy, which pretty much this is where they have the talk with him. As they tell him the truth, they're saying that they really didn't have a choice. They fought their hardest to try to stop it, which Naruto's not hearing it, and pretty much just leaves. This is where we start off the next day, and Naruto is pretty much at the academy, and he's doing the Shadow Clone test, and he passes it because Naruto doesn't have the full 9 tails or half the 9 tails in him, which that makes his chakra control not bad or uncontrollable. So yeah, he pretty much does it. Now this is where Naruto is heading home. Oh well, heading to the Robin place, and he pretty much stays there because he doesn't want to go home because his mom and dad pretty much lied to him how he became like that. Now this is where pretty much Naruto is about to leave. As he's leaving, this is where he sees a kid with the scroll ceiling, pretty much running on rooftops. This is where Naruto pretty much teleports to the kid in front of him and asks what's he doing with the scroll ceiling, which the kid is not saying anything, and this is where Naruto is impatient and uses the Mind Stone. He's trying out all the stone's abilities, what he can do, and pretty much use it on the kid. This is where the kid pretty much tells Naruto everything, and pretty much tells him that Mizuki told him that he can pass if he steals the scroll and hand it to him. And this is where Naruto realized that something's not right here, and he pretty much takes the scroll from the kid and tells him and orders him to go home, which the kid starts going home. Now this is where Naruto is pretty much heading to the forest to stop Mizuki or to figure out why Mizuki wanted the scroll ceiling, and pretty much he just starts waiting for him. As he's waiting for him, he pretty much opens up the scroll to see what he can learn, and he learns the multi-shot clone jutsu as canon. And also, he learns about something else, the Rinnegan, which he's reading about it and what he can, and what the Rinnegan does and stuff. And he pretty much says, I wish I had those eyes. Those seem cool. Which pretty much this is where Naruto accidentally uses his ability Reality Stone and kind of alter himself, or altering reality a little bit and altering himself specifically, and give himself the Rinnegan. Now this is where Naruto feels the chakra thing, chakra in his eyes, and he begins to fall down to the ground, holding his eyes in pain, you could say. Sorry about that. Let me just. This happens every time, guys. I'm sorry. It just seems like always some shit. But let's continue. Pretty much, this is where Naruto is in the ground holding his eyes saying, my eyes. Which, this is where Naruto pretty much learned more about the Rinnegan and saying that it requires a lot of chakra. And this is where Naruto accidentally again alter his, you could say his reality and give himself like amounts of a lot of chakra, like a hot lot of chakra. And this is where Naruto begins to get back up and says, they doesn't hurt no more. And he begins to try out the Rinnegan abilities. This is where he's trying out some of them, and this is where he does an almighty push and pretty much destroys like 3 trees around him and says, wow, these eyes are powerful, which he's pretty much impressed with him. This is where Naruto thinking of how he's going to explain this to his mom and dad, but this is where Iruka comes in and pretty much walks up to Naruto and asks him what's Naruto doing, which Naruto looks at Iruka, and Iruka immediately notices what's different about Naruto, and he says, Naruto, is that the Rinnegan? Which Naruto's about to explain himself until Mizuki comes in throwing the kunai and pretty much hitting Iruka. Well, pretty much about to hit Naruto until Iruka jumps in and takes the hit. Now, as he takes the hit, this is where Naruto pretty much scatters and hide, or pretty much teleports away. Which this is where as he's hiding, this is where Iruka pretty much asks Mizuki what's he doing, and pretty much Mizuki spills the whole bean, saying that he's going to take the scroll after he gets rid of him and Naruto, and he's going to take the scroll, head to Orochimaru, proving his loyalty and power, and try to get power. And pretty much explains the whole situation in spilling the beans. This is where Naruto pretty much creates multi-shao Konjutsu and wants to try something out. This is where he creates multi-shao Konjutsu, multiple clones, and he uses the Power Stone. Well, the Power Stone, and pretty much increases physical strength, ability, and all that, and make him physically powerful. this is where all the clones is connected to Naruto, so they get the same thing, and they start to charge at Mizuki. This is where Mizuki begins to try to fight one of the clones, but as he hit one of the clones, it doesn't disperse. And the clone pretty much grabs Mizuki's leg, and the other one grabs Mizuki's leg, and this is where all the clones begins to beat the absolutely shit out of Mizuki. Now, as that happened, this is where Naruto teleports to Iruka and asks if he's okay, which Iruka says he's okay, and Naruto did well. And this is where Naruto uses the time stone to pretty much rewind Iruka Sensei before he got hit, and pretty much Iruka feels perfectly fine and healed up. Now, this is where Iruka is amazed that Naruto has his power, which Naruto is amazed himself, and pretty much is decided and thinks that he's gonna, and says that he's gonna become the next Hokage, just like his father, which pretty much Iruka says he believes it, and pretty much, yeah. And Naruto gets a Iruka headband instead of like any other headband, which Naruto is like happy about it. Now, this is where we start with the next day. Naruto is pretty much different now, as since he has the Rinnegan, he pretty much has more, you could say, perception. He has more sight, and he pretty much can see people chakra now. Like, he can kind of have sensory ability, so he can sense people chakra and stuff. And he's pretty much learning more about the Rinnegan as he has them in his eyes. But this is where Naruto heads into the academy, and everybody's looking at him because they see Naruto has these weird purple eyes. And the only person who noticed them is Sasuke. Is pretty much Sasuke. And Sasuke knows about the Rinnegan because I'm going to say before, yes, I'm going to say the Uchiha still got massacred because why not make the plot spicy? But this is where Sasuke noticed that Naruto has the Rinnegan, and he is curious of how does Naruto has the Rinnegan, because we're going to say he read the Uchiha tablet before he left the Uchiha compound, and he pretty much read the thing with his one Tomoe, not two Tomoe Sharingan, and he only read half of it, and half of it says that only Uchihas can get the Rinnegan, and you have to do specific things, and you have to get like Senju DNA. You gotta get the first Hokage DNA, and this pretty much, yeah. Which this is where we're gonna say Senju DNA, which we all know the first, and you have to be Uchiha, which this is where Sasuke only knows half of it, of how to get the Rinnegan, but pretty much he's curious of how Naruto got it, but he pretty much looks away and contemplate on that. This is where they start signing teams. Now, every team is all pretty much the same, and except for Naruto's team, that will be Naruto Uzumaki, Hinata Hyuga, and Sasuke Uchiha. Now, this is where, as that's happening, Naruto is pretty much waiting with Sasuke and Hinata, and pretty much Hinata starts talking to Naruto, and they having a conversation and stuff, and she pretty much asks Naruto what's with the eyes, which Naruto pretty much explains that he pretty much whispered to her and says that he uses one of his stone abilities to pretty much gain this power, which Sasuke didn't hear, but pretty much Hinata's saying, so you use one of the stones, which he says he doesn't. He's still getting used to using them, but he used one of them to pretty much alter his physical thing and get the Rinnegan, which he's pretty much still learning how to use the Rinnegan. Which Hinata is impressed and pretty much saying that, and pretty much makes a laughing joke and says that, do you think you can alter your DNA to become a Hyuga? Which Naruto jokes around and says, maybe I can, in which this is where he accidentally used the reality stone without knowing, and pretty much alter his DNA, making himself half Hyuga and half Uzumaki, which this is where his hair begins to start changing into like Hinata's color, and his Rinnegan eyes, his Rinnegan begins to turn into like a unique pupil, like turning into like a unique pupil. It's like the same Rinnegan but with unique pupils, with like Hyuga pupils, which Hinata realized that Naruto has changed his own DNA, which Sasuke noticed too, and Hinata asks, "Is he a?" Which Naruto says, "I think I'm half Hyuga," which Hinata is pretty much amazed and saying, "Wow, amazing! So you can become pretty much anything you want." Which Naruto says, huh, "I think I could become a Uchiha too." Which Sasuke says, huh, "Like you can become a Uchiha." Which this is where Naruto says, "Oh yeah, watch me." Which he pretty much alters his DNA and becomes Uchiha. Now Uchiha slash Hyuga slash Uzumaki. Which Sasuke is getting pissed off at Naruto, saying, "You're not a Uchiha," which so you should probably turn back now. Which Naruto says he's sorry, but he can't really control it. Which Sasuke is about to get angry at Naruto until Kakashi comes in. Now this is where Kakashi looks at the team, and he pretty much sees his team and realizes that Naruto looks a little bit different than Minato, and says, "Huh, he looks a little bit odd." But he doesn't mind it and tells him to meet up in the rooftop. This is where everybody else is the same, except for Naruto. He wants to become the best Hokage than anyone else in the world with his power, and pretty much that's the only difference. This is where Kakashi tells everybody to meet up tomorrow for the bell test. Don't eat or you're going to puke. And everybody starts to head home. Now, this is where Naruto is pretty much about to head home, walking home, until Sasuke looks at Naruto and asks, how did he get the Rinnegan? Which Naruto spills the beans and tells him that he has this power where he can alter himself and also give himself physical power and stuff. Which this is where Sasuke pretty much don't believe him and pretty much walks off, calling Naruto a weirdo, which Naruto looks at him with a grumpy look, but he pretty much walks away. This is where Naruto heads home, saying he's home, which Minato sees the difference, including Kushina, which Kushina does a little screech and says what happened to Naruto, which Naruto pretty much tells his mom it's nothing big or bad. He just altered his DNA a little bit and made himself a half Uchiha, half Hyuga, and gave himself the Rinnegan, which this is where Minato realized that Naruto is more powerful than anyone else around here, and pretty much tell Naruto to make sure not to show everybody that, because some people might be coming after him, which Naruto doesn't listen to Minato because, like I said, family issues, and pretty much heads up in his room slamming the door, and pretty much heads in his bed looking up into the wall saying, like, I'm going to hide my abilities. Now, this is part 1 of What If Naruto Had the Infinity Stones. If you like, let's get this up to 50 likes, and I'll do a part 2. But I'm Keyshawn Chia. Thanks for watching, and we're going to be doing the next other videos. Peace out.
It looks like you lost another one.